Do you think the NFL relying so heavily on Taylor Swift is a bad thing? Or actually buying into this Taylor Swift? Having her as like a main attraction for the games? Do you think it's ruined it?
I'm sure that it's made them more money, but it's kind of like Bud Light trying to be progressive.
Okay.
It's like, know your fan base. Relax.
These folks definitely don't care about none of that.
You might bring the Taylor Swift fans right now, but you're making everybody else hate you a lot. So it's like, I don't think it's a benefit. What do you think?
Honestly, I feel like the NFL is putting far too many cards on a fan base that will leave once they break up. And when they do leave, they're going to look at their like how much money that they've made from it and be like, wow, was this really enough for us to base our whole marketing strategy on Taylor Swift and the amount that we're just continuously showing her? Because it's like, I don't think that her fans actually care about the game. Because it's like, if you ask the average Taylor Swift fan, or like if you did go outside and you went to like a bar and then you were talking to like one of like the random folks that were there, and the amount of folks that are saying, oh yeah, no, I'm literally just here for Taylor Swift, that's not a good sign.
From a purely business standpoint, I get it, because it's kind of like, if you have your cemented fan base, you're already the biggest in what you like. There's no
Getting
larger,
bigger. Yeah.
There's no larger football league. Mm-hmm. Any eyes is a chance at a new fan.
Okay.
So there is probably some amount of Taylor Swift fans that are like, ooh, sweaty dudes, I'll watch that. So it'll benefit them minorly, but then again, a 1% increase would be a lot for them. So
That's true.
I don't agree with it. I think, like I said, I think it's like Bud Light, and I think they're watering down their whole brand for really nothing in return. But
yeah, that's fair. Honestly, one of the things that was really ailing me as I was watching the whole game, and in accordance to Taylor Swift and her whole fan base and I feel like since they don't watch the game, they don't understand a lot of the rules, nor do they care to understand like a lot of like the nuances of the game. Like when Travis Kelce, he went and blew up on Andy Reid, right? The main thing I was seeing trend was Kelce abuser. That was like the main thing that everyone was talking about. And I'm like, no, what should trend is he went and stood his coach up and he was wilding in front of everyone to see. That is the major problem.
I get what you're saying, but like then again, we have NBA narratives, 1 and 2. Not everybody's watching the game for the same reason. How many dudes watch volleyball religiously could not tell you what a libero is? So like, I don't.
What?
And that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So it's like, I don't think that it's necessarily fair to be like, oh, you're stupid. You don't know the rules. It's like they might not even be watching for all of that, really.
Mm-hmm. It's not. Yeah, that's fair. One of the things that was like continuously being told, or at least like spoke on, was how this is like a sign of when a man just is overly aggressive and just blows up at another person. That is a sign of what they'll be doing in said relationship, right? You see the jump? But the crazy thing is, in the eyes of like the vast majority of women that I have talked to about this, they're like, yeah, no, that was very scary. That was a very scary moment. Travis Kelce, he blew up at Andy Reid, their head coach, because he wasn't in on the play that they got a fumble in. And when they got... I think you know how I talk. You know my accent. Don't do this. You're ruining my cooking. But
don't start this shit again. You don't got no fucking accent. Stop.
But when they fumbled it, he like explodes on Andy Reid because he's like, I should have been fucking in, like that type of energy.
Yeah.
And he hits him and like he like startles him, and then everyone's like, "Oh, Travis Kelce attacks 60-year-old man," and he's aggressive. Oh, the NFL's not reprimanding. The NFL's not talking about it. Look at the NFL's golden boy that no one wants to talk about, and that was like the main narrative that was going on for like honestly the rest of the game. And I would not be surprised if they lost. It would have been like actually bad, but.
I think that's really, 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 really stupid. Especially in football of all of the games.
Real quick, another theme that I've just been seeing, like men should just actually never be aggressive because of like in football, that's literally the place to be aggressive. But yeah.
I don't get how yelling equates to you being scared, especially if it's not at you. Like I don't. That's not something.
But the thing is, it could be at them.
But this is we're connecting two separate things. If you hit my dog with your car and I scream at you, what does that have to do with my wife that is inside crying about said murdered dog? You know, like you're like that's how I look at it. Like, what did that have to do with that? Why you think I'm gonna go inside and beat her up because this person hit my? Let's be serious. I get the you know, some dudes are a bit reactive and they do blow up at everything. But then I feel like you would be able to see that they blow up at everything and not just when it makes sense to be upset. I don't get how women be screaming at people, but then it's like when I do it, like
a girl literally told me, I was like, have you ever seen that TikTok where it's like when you realize how strong a man really is? Okay, so there's this TikTok where women like look at men like lifting weights and they're like benching 320, squatting 425, and then this girl just like looks mortified because it's like, wow, if this guy ever got mad and wanted to like do something, he actually just could.
I'm realizing more and more every day that like all that 60s, 70s rhetoric like was a little bit important. Not necessarily the whole get married, stay in the house, barefoot, pregnant type beat, but like I feel like women almost don't even understand how men exist.
Okay, what you mean?
The fact that that was a thought that multiple people had and agreed on a video. Like it's like you don't understand like genetics almost. Like men strong, women memory. Like, you know, like
okay, yeah.
that's how things have evolved forever. Nothing's really changed. I don't get how you're amazed by that.
It's not that they're amazed. It's just like they're like just they just remember. They just
It's
like
not remember. They
like it's like they're not thinking of men
let me
beating
explain it to
them
you
all
better.
the time.
Let me explain it to you better. Have you ever had a girl talk to you and you like eventually realize she legitimately thinks that she can beat you up?
Yeah.
And it's not even like you're trying to fight her. She started it.
Okay.
And it's like, do you really think like, because to me it's like everybody else here sees that you're in danger. Why do you have to put yourself in actual danger?
So here's another thing. On the terms of the woman, I've recognized that literally a good amounts have been through like genuinely abusive shit. That to the point where anytime like something even like hints at it, it's like, oh yeah, no, flashback to old dude in high school that would literally like hit me for everything. They'd yell at me for everything. Again, it's two different. You're having like 2 to 3 different conversations at the same time.
Yeah, that might be different.
Yeah. In the case of women wanting men to show their aggression because of it, the way it would look, that's a whole other thing in comparison to like women that are just like scarred repeatedly from everyone that they have dated before, to the point that when they do find a new person, they're like, oh yeah, no, I still think that you're just like this bad man that I used to date 10 years ago. Alongside with that, it's kind of difficult for a lot of women to separate the two things because it's like you don't know what an abuser looks like to begin with, because it's like this person was literally, we were perfect for 6-7 years, and then year 8, year 9, he just was different. He was just more aggressive at every little thing. He didn't want to help me with any little thing, and that's just what happens with a lot of. That's just something that happens with a lot of women. Alongside having to watch good men look at this bad man and not do anything about said bad man, to the fact now they can't trust any other man around because it's like, well, I thought you were a good person, but you just watched this dickhead be a dickhead for 1.5 years and didn't say nothing to nobody. And when I did come to you to tell you, you went and looked at me and said, are you just imagining this? Is this actually what went down, or are you just exaggerating it like you always do? And that's another reason why it's hard to have this conversation in the first place, because it's like showing of outward aggression in front of millions of people with Taylor Swift in the stands, with millions, hundreds of millions eyes looking at this one game, and you are comfortable enough to literally almost crash out on this 60-year-old man. What are you doing behind closed doors? Even though they are removing the context of football being an aggressive sport to begin with. Because, like, if you look at interviews of, like, past athletes, current athletes, like, oh, yeah, no, I've thrown hands inside of practice, in the locker room, during practice, where you had to say, you know what, no, we can't continue playing until I literally fight you. So we're not knowing that that's the context of the sport. That's why I feel like adding, like, Taylor Swift fans to the game that don't have the context is like a recipe for disaster. Because it's like, if you went on the sideline and heard some of the stuff that the people are saying in comparison to what like Bleacher Report is posting and things of that nature, it's two completely different things. People are meaner in like the actual game. And it's like that in like all sports. Should he have snapped? No, he should not have snapped and showed his team, his coach up like that. You can show your, hold on. Even if to talk about the Kansas City Chiefs, literally 3 weeks prior to the Super Bowl, Patrick Mahomes screaming his head off at his wide receivers to do better, to be better, cussing them out their name. But that did not stir no controversy because that is part of it. If you're doing bad, you're gonna hear that you're being